Hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to our powers, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Hey, give it double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that have taught us this truth that are constantly ruling well through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Hey, peace, mercy, and blessings to the beloved Akim that are out there pushing this word wholeheartedly in truth and in sincerity, that are not wavering to the left nor to the right, but constantly stand on that straight and narrow, fighting for your crowns in these last days that we are truly living in. Even shalom to the few sisters, the Aquas that are out there, and even shalom to the Israelite foreigners, those that may look like the other nations, but their seed line is going back into our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I'm the brother Ira, coming back with another lesson to the Lord, willing, edifying, feed the lambs of the Lord, which I pray this lesson is edifying, concise, and straight to the point. And I pretty much got this clip queued up from the Elder Bishop Ainab, and it's got some good imagery, just showing you the type of times that we getting ready to come into. All right, which, you know, we've been speaking about this for years, known as Jacob's trouble. All right, meaning our people, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians are in trouble. All right, and whom are they in trouble by? The Heavenly Father, Yahweh, as well as his beloved Son, Yahweh Shai. Okay, and the Lord has had the prophets warn, which we're still out there warning, you know, but that time is coming to an end where the Lord is getting ready to take the prophets off the streets. The famine of the word is getting ready to take place, okay, and things are getting ready to change. All right, and you know, these Edomites, they're making moves, man. They're putting the troops out into the streets. They're getting ready to give them live ammunitions and, you know, guns in their hands to patrol, all right, these cities. And Trump is moving them out to 19 states, you know. So we in them type of times, man, where we ain't got that much longer here. But before salvation comes, we getting ready to be faced with some evil times. And see, on the left hand, you know, Esau's been using what is known as the revelation of the method. All right, they've been showing you what they got in store for you, because ultimately their inspiration comes from the Heavenly Father. All right, so what they're doing, the Most High has put it in their minds, all right, to come down upon the inhabitants with great wrath. So what I want to read right here is revelation of the method, which means it's the practice of revealing hidden truths and sinister agendas in plain sight, cloaked in symbolism and subtext. All right, and a part of these hidden agendas, all right, is to manipulate your mind to already consent to something before you even knew about it. All right, and that's what they're doing through psychological warfare, which is a term called implied consent. Let's look this up real fast. All right, which, you know, we've been warning about this, that, you know, they're getting ready to bring and make that RFID chip, the mark of the beast, made mandatory. All right, so the word right here, implied consent, is an agreement that is not explicitly stated but is inferred from actions or circumstances. All right, and we know that the hellish circumstance that they're getting ready to put you in, okay, you're going to openly suggest for a solution. You're going to beg for it, and the solution is that you got to take this chip, okay? And this is what is known as problem, reaction, solution, the Hegelian dialect. It says, in other words, it's when someone's behavior suggests they agree to something even without saying or writing it, okay? So this is also how they use the revelation of the method, which is also predictive programming. So it says the concept is widely discussed in occult and conspiracy theories communities. It is also related to the theory of predictive programming, which claims that the government or elite use fictional works to test public reactions to upcoming plans or to prepare the public for future events. All right, and These events are getting ready to take place. All right, because why? They are prophecies. Okay, and the Bible tells us that these times are getting ready to take place. All right, so let's watch this video, and then we're gonna grab some scriptures.
Hollywood. You begin to understand the Druidic system, which we call Hollywood. And then you begin to see the symbols, the words, the terms. Hollywood does three things. They tell you what your masters have done in the past, what they're doing now, and what they're getting ready to do. That's Hollywood, Druidic system of entertainment. You need to wake up and understand what's going on here.
Good morning. Today, with the invocation of the War Powers Act by the President, I am declaring a state of martial law in this city. There's historically nothing more corrosive to the morale of a population than policing its own citizens. But the enemy would be sadly mistaken if they were to doubt our resolve. They are now face to face with the most fearsome military machine in the history of man.
dreamt about how things were.
Not here yet! Of every enemy of the state!
And I woke up here.
Anthony,
Yeah.
what do you think about Pete Hegseth ordering the National Guard in D.C. to now carry weapons?
I think this is the turning point where the people of the United States either do something, despite the short-term consequences, or there's not going to be another chance to do something in the future.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we have 3 Republican-led states leading a now armed military presence into D.C. to essentially take over the nation's capital. And that's just the start, right? Trump says New York and Chicago are next, and we're hearing reporting out of Fox News and other sources that there's several thousand more National Guard ready to go into other states next. So, this is a hostile military takeover from our own government, and quite frankly, it's basically the start of a civil war. And the only question is, again, whether the American people are going to do something about it, or let the country complete its slide into fascism.
What can the American people do to stop this?
Quite frankly, at this point, a general strike and large-scale protests for as long as it takes to cause change to happen, right? That's the only option. There needs to be a full economic shutdown until the powers that be turn on Trump's regime because all their businesses are failing. And pretty much every Democratic leader should be calling for that too. Is it going to be really hard on a lot of people? Absolutely. There's going to be problems with food scarcity, with money, and all of that, which is why I keep saying that the DNC needs to be the one that organizes this. But regardless of whether the DNC acts or not, the American people need to act because I don't think we're going to get another opportunity if the Trump administration is allowed to continue this attack on American cities.
All right, let's grab a couple of precepts. There was a lot that was shown and said within those clips. All right, but just to give you a visual of the type of times that we are in. All right, so this is Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. It says, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keepeth the commandments of the Most High, and have the testimony of Yahushua Mashiach." All right, so this dragon, going back into the ancient Roman Empire, the dragon is dealing with the Edomites, and the woman is represented as Israel. Okay, and just like they made war with us back then, they're making war with us now. All right, because we're the ones that are rehearsing the righteous acts, calling back on the names of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, all right? And we're the ones that are speaking about the prophecies, all right? Because the testimonies that we have are the spirit of prophecy, okay? And history and prophecy line up with each other, all right? Matter of fact, let's grab Revelation 19 real fast. All right, that's why we say prophecy is important. This is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 10. "And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy." Okay? All right, the spirit of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. All right, and what did our Lord Yahushua prophesy back when he was in the Roman Empire? He prophesied about 70 AD. Okay, and when you look at what Trump is doing, which through the spirit, he's Nero and could be the last Trump, which he's speaking about a third term and, not coming out of his power seat. But he's got the troops out there, and what they're doing is setting up the siege. All right, a great siege is taking place, whether you believe it or not. They're getting ready to lock this thing down, and they know that there's going to be some type of revolt, or they're probably going to set something up to where if people don't bring the carnage, they're going to hire militias and things of that nature to bring the carnage to move forward with the next phase of their plan. All right, so you watch movies like The Purge and all these other different movies, showing exactly what they have intended or what's in mind. So Melon's heads is getting ready to get split. People are getting ready to get hauled off. Lives are getting ready to be lost. Okay, all right, but hey, this took place and Jerusalem. All right, the Roman armies rolled up on the southern kingdom, okay, and it was a very sorrowful time. All right, when that took place. Let's read some of it. All right, this is Luke 21:20. It says, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh." Right? It says with armies. This is what we're seeing now. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get a precept real fast, all right? Because again, nothing is new. This is Ecclesiastes 1:9. "The things that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, it is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It have been already of old times, which was before us." All right, so the times that we are in is getting ready to be worse than 70 AD. All right, but what they're doing is getting ready to do the same thing, but just on a higher level. All right, let me go up real fast. Let me get what I was reading earlier. All right, 70 AD. Let me see. All right, let's read some of this, all right, because it's some good history to know. Just get straight to the point. It says, number 1, the military siege warfare. It says the primary violence was a classic brutal Roman siege commanded by the future emperor Titus. It says, encircling the city, the Roman legions built a massive siege wall, a circumvallation completely around Jerusalem to cut off supplies and prevent escape. Now, you know, when your supplies get cut off, that means that you don't have access to food or water. So that's going to take place here as well. The scriptures speak about famine is going to also take place at the same time. Let's keep reading, right? It says, this lead to severe famine and desperation within the city walls. It says use of siege engines. The Romans used massive battering rams to break down the city walls and built huge siege towers to allow their soldiers to assault the walls. It says there were relentless daily attacks on the city's formidable defense walls, the third wall, the second wall, and the Antonia fortress. It says factional and civil war violence within Jerusalem. Before and during the Roman siege, Jerusalem was torn apart by internal conflict. Several Jewish rebels groups, notably the Zealots and the Sicarii, fought each other for control, making a coordinated defense impossible and worsening the suffering. It says street fighting, bitter clashes occur between rival factions within the city streets. All right, which you know, a lot of these things are getting ready to take place again. Okay, you know, and that's why we say, this fight of ours is spiritual. Our warfare is not carnal, you know, and you got zealots, you know, those that are popping up on YouTube, burning flags, wearing bulletproof vests, you know, bringing the blickies to the campsites. You know, these are the zealots and those that in the spirit as Sicarii as was in the ancient times, and they were going off. All right, because they were trying to, you know, force the hand of the Lord. All right, but it wasn't time to fight. Okay, and even now it's not our time to fight. That's why the scriptures say, you know, wait ye upon the Lord until, you know, he rises up upon the prey, which the prey is represented as the other nations. Okay, but before Yahweh Shah can come, all right, we got to be proven. The test has to take place, which is that charagma, to see who all believes in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's going to be a major test to try, all right, everybody. Okay, let me get that as well. All right, hold on. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Just getting straight to the point, chapter 3 and 10, because these type of times are coming fastly. Revelation 3 and 10, it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. You see? So it's getting ready to be exposed who truly believes or not. All right, through this test. All right, those that are going to bow down unto Esau's mark, or those that are going to deny the mark, all right, and stand stiffly, whether our lives are lost or not. Okay, you know. So let's go back, right? It says executions and terror. It says the radical groups executed political opponents and those who advocated for surrender, burning food supplies to force the population to fight to the end. You see what these individuals were doing? So you're going to have people that are going to be set up to stand up like this, to push forth a narrative, you know, all right, which agent provocateurs, all right, but don't fall for the bamboozle, the tricks, you know, when there's individuals saying we need to fight up, we need to stand against the tyranny, the terror, you know, all right. No, let these simpletons, you know, get up and, you know, try to fight their way through for freedom, okay, which they're doing nothing more than just fulfilling prophecy, all right, as the scriptures speak about in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. I'm gonna get straight to the point, all right. 2nd Ezra 15 and 15, it says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition amongst men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, so you're going to have individuals that are set up to inspire others to fight, but this is not our fight again. All right, our trust is to be in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and ultimately us applying wisdom. We want the Lord to hide us, all right, when these times arise. All right, we don't want to get caught out here, okay, because, you know, that's what the elect is going to do. We're going to trust on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and he's going to, you know, keep us, all right, from these things. All right, he's going to put the spirit on us to apply wisdom. This is Isaiah chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So the Lord's going to give us the faith, all right, to just chill back, you know, not to take matters into our own hands, you know. So it says, let me read it from the top again. It says, the radical group executed political opponents and those who advocated for surrender, burning food supplies to force the population to fight to the end. This internal violence significantly weakened the city's ability to withstand the Romans. It says, the famine and diseases, the siege, which lasted for several months. All right, we don't know how long Jacob's trouble is going to last. You see? And you know, this is why the scriptures speak about that, you know, the Lord is going to have to send Michael the archangel to stand up for thy people, thy children, for the elect. Okay? Because things are going to be that bad. It says the spring to the summer of 70 AD created horrific conditions inside the city. All right, so these were hellish times. And these type of hellish times are getting ready to take place here in Babylon the Great, which is America. And they're getting ready to be worse, though. Okay, so it says starvation. The Romans' blockade was effective. Historical accounts like those of the historian Josephus describe people starving to death, resorting to eating leather, grass, and even horrific acts of cannibalism. All right, which let me grab that back in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Let's read on down a little bit more, okay, because it speaks about that. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so it's going to be no food out here. So people are going to resort to cannibalism and violence in order to survive. Let's grab another precept in the book of 2nd Ezra, again, chapter 6. And I want to read down here in the G&T at verse 27. It says, evil will be destroyed. No, I'm sorry. That's the wrong verse. I'm sorry. Let me read up. All right, in the G&T right here. In verse verse 23. It says, then the trumpet will sound, and sudden terror will grip the heart of everyone when they hear it. It says, friends will fight like enemies, and the earth and its people will be terrified. Rivers will stop flowing and stand still for 3 hours. It says, those who survive all these things that I have predicted will be rescued when I bring to an end this world that I created. All right, so the elect are going to survive through these trying times. All right, and be what? Taken up into the clouds. All right, the chariots, the ships. But it said, while these things are taking place, that friends, are going to turn on, one another. All right, because of the lack of resources that are out here. All right, that show you how bad it's going to be. Okay, so it says, diseases, the overcrowding, lack of sanitation, and malnutrition led to the spread of deadly diseases, killing countless people before the Romans even broke through the final walls. The final assault and slaughter, when the Romans finally breached the inner defense, the violence reached its peak. The destruction of the temple, the climax was the burning and the systematic destruction of the second temple. The religious and cultural heart of I'm gonna just say, Judah, because Judah is, the head tribe, Judah, and then out of Judah, you got Benjamin and Levi, out of the southern kingdom. So it says this was an act of immense symbolic and real violence. It says the massacre of civilians. The Roman soldiers were given free rein to pillage and kill. All right, this is what these troops are going to be given the green light to do. All right, and we believe that they have peacekeepers, all right, which are UN troops that are going to fulfill these orders. All right, so it's going to be a lot of death out here. All right, so it says they showed little mercy, slaughtering tens of thousands of the I'm gonna say southern kingdom, because it says Jewish, but the southern kingdom inhabitant, regardless of age or gender. All right, so they didn't care about the age or gender. All right, which goes into, all right, a lot of women and children were being slaughtered in those times. Okay, let's get this in the book of Isaiah chapter 13. Let's get straight to the point on this one as well. Isaiah 13:15, it says, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. All right, so you're going to have men as well as women. All right, GRAPED here. All right, graped. All right, taken by force. It's going to be nasty work out here. Very serious times that we are in. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. All right, so that's killing mercilessly. All right, not having mercy upon the people. And this is the same spirit that the Lord put on the Romans back then, which he's getting ready to put on these Edomites today. It's the same spirit. Revelation 12:12, for he knoweth that he had but a short time. All right. So it's getting ready to get bad out here. It's getting ready to get terrifying out here. All right. But remember, the Lord said that he did not give us the spirit of fear, or to doubt, because the Lord did say that he would be our guide. And that's why the spirit has been of late to go into the stories. Elijah was taken care of. Daniel was in a critical situation because he was fed to lions, forced into a lion's den, which was out of his control, but the lions did not devour Daniel. He was taken care of through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and he was also fed while those lions were hungry, and he was innocent. And through his innocence and faith, all right, the Lord justified him. And that's what the Lord is going to do to the elect in these times, all right? Justify his elect, okay? All right, because we're truly innocent and we're blameless, and that's how we have to remain to be. All right, because they will bring slander. They will bring all type of accusations against us. They will come and, take us from our jobs, take us from our homes, if that be our lot. And the scriptures describe how they will put us into these prison houses. All right, but the scriptures say what? Remain faithful. All right, even if it's unto death. Okay, let's grab that real fast. Hold on, let's get Revelation chapter 2 verse 10. All right, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, so that's not an exact 10 days, but all right, however many days it is, just know that the Lord shall be with us. Okay? The Lord said, I will not leave thee nor forsake thee. All right, and we got to stand by those words. So let's read back right here where I last left off at. It says, they showed little mercy, slaughtering tens of thousands of the southern kingdom inhabitants, regardless of age or gender. Josephus estimated the death toll was over 1 million, though modern scholars believe it was likely several hundred thousands. It says the enslavements, those not killed, were captured and sold into slavery. The Josephus reported that 97,000 were enslaved. Many were forced to build monuments in Rome or were sent to die in the gladiatorial games. So you had a lot of our people that fled to, Africa, Asia, Europe, places like that, okay? But this time we don't have nowhere to run, all right, except to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's our place of refuge, and where we're supposed to hide. Okay, let's go back to Luke. You brothers could read some more into the history of it. I just want to just grab a couple points out of there. All right, Luke chapter 21 and 21. It says, then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. All right, so our people fled. The wise of our people that fled, the ones that didn't stay and stick around. All right, the wise of our people that fled, they fled into other countries and got out of Dodge. All right, but now in these type of times, where are we to go? All right, so the scriptures say we have to flee unto the Lord. This is Psalms 143 and 9. Deliver me, O Lord, from mine enemies, I flee unto thee to hide me. All right. So that's where we're going to flee, into the secret place. Okay. You know, our beloved King David, he said, hide me from the wicked, which is thy sword. All right. So these Edomites are the sword of the Most High. Okay. So the Lord is the one that can hide us from them. All right. And everything else that is going to be taking place. Psalm 17:13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him. Cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Okay. So the Lord can deliver us. All right. Which the Lord will deliver. All right. Those whom he choose to. Okay. All right. From these terrible times. All right. And those that are taken. All right. Because the Lord said that these punishments are punishments for the wicked. All right. Not for the righteous. So it says Luke 21 and 22. It says, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. You see? So we're in those times where, you know, people are given unto marriage, eating and drinking, and they're still trying to live in a mirthful type of time, but the spirit of mirth is gone. We're in a time of, you know, watching as well as praying. All right. We're in a time of, you know, getting your household in order. Okay. Because shit is getting ready to get real out here in these streets, you know? So, let me see. I wanted to play something else. It was something that I seen that a brother posted. Yeah, as a matter of fact, yeah, let me get this real fast from the brother. Let me see if I can get to it, and let me see. It's a lot. There's a lot of stuff I'll be looking at. Let me go to YouTube real fast. I'm gonna play this video as well because it's a really good one. It's really informative. From the Hopeful Elect 3.
19.
Of a civil war is simply a war between citizens of the same country. It doesn't matter their status or ranking. All it says is citizens against citizens. So now when we think back on our first civil war, this was civilians versus civilians. However, we are now seeing the start of what I believe is a civil war. However, it's our National Guard and some of our military against civilians. However, both are considered citizens. And a few decades from now, they might even argue that this started a few months ago out in California. We are seeing a very gradual rise in the violence occurring, especially through the footage coming out at some of these protests. They've also been given the order to carry rifles in DC, and I think they are waiting on one specific triggering moment for this to become fully widespread. In today's world, especially in this country, we are not going to see one big in-your-face sign of this is civil war. That would cause a loss of power. We're already seeing how many people are simply turning a blind eye to this and continuing their lives like nothing is happening. And that's how they want it, because if every single person in this country was fully awake and aware to what was going on, they would lose immediately. But this small uptick in violence and this very gradual war happening is what's allowing them to take further and further steps. A lot of us predicted that a civil war would happen during this presidency, but it's turning out to be nothing like how we predicted it or how we even in our minds think of a civil war. It's very different. But I hope you're all aware of what's happening right now.
As a veteran, people keep asking me, is this actually a military occupation? Are we really going into a civil war? The answer is yes, to the occupation part. The civil war yet to be determined. The truth is, you cannot send the military onto U.S. soil to control any parts of the United States without it being some type of military occupation. That's what it is. That's the definition. The military is occupying an area and controlling it. The fact that he's talking about sending it to 19 different states, likely he's going to try to send them to blue states like New York and Los Angeles and Massachusetts. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well at all. I fear for the soldiers. I fear for the people that go against the soldiers. I fear for my countrymen. Flat out. Doesn't matter what side you're on. I fear for the American citizen.
Alright, so we're in them type of times. Civil war. Alright, let's grab a couple more precepts. This is Isaiah 19:2 in the GNT. It says the Lord says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Alright, so we getting ready to see Egyptians upon Egyptians. Alright, the love of many are waxing cold. Okay, and this is all the wrath of the Lord taking place. Alright, things getting ready to get real bad out here. You know, and if you ain't got the Lord, alright, it's over. Alright, this is the end game. Okay, alright, let's get some more right here in Ezekiel chapter 7. Alright, in verse 5 in the GNT, it says, this is what the sovereign Lord is saying. One disaster after another is coming on you. It's all over. This is the end. You are finished. The end is coming for you people who live in the land. The time is near when there will be no more celebrations at the mountain shrine, only confusion. Very soon now you will feel all the force of my anger. I am judging you for what you have done, and I will pay you back for all your disgusting conducts. I will not spare you or show you any mercy. I am going to punish you for the disgusting things you have done, so that you will know that I am the Lord, and that I am the one who punishes you. The day of disaster is coming. Violence is flourishing. Pride is at its height. Violence produces more wickedness. Nothing of theirs will remain. Nothing of their wealth, their splendor, or their glory. The time is coming, the day is near when buying and selling will have no more meaning, because God's punishment will fall on everyone alike. Everything is getting ready to change. Okay? No more merchants will live long enough to get back what they have lost, because God's anger is on everyone. Those who are evil cannot survive. The trumpet blows and everyone gets ready, but no one goes off to war, for God's anger will fall on everyone alike. All right, so the trumpet is being blown now. The warning is going forth now. All right, and only the elect are taking heed to this message that Yahweh Bashim Abishai, all right, is pushing through his servants. So I pray this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect. I'm going to get out of here by saying Barakatah Yahweh and Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All right. And with that, Shalom, Akim.